Let me now bring in Ambassador Dennis Ross. He's former special assistant to President Obama for the Mideast region and an NBC News foreign affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, good to be with you.
Now, today's Secretary of State Antony Blinken is, of course, in Riyadh, as we noted. How optimistic are you that these hostage talks are truly going to gain steam here and that they could actually lead to a deal given all that's happening?
Well, I don't want to say I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful, but I'm not optimistic. The reason I'm not optimistic is because Hamas is releasing these videos less to show proof of life and more to try to manipulate the emotions, to try to build pressures on Israel, to get Israel to concede to everything that Hamas is asking for. The real issue is, will there be sufficient pressure on Hamas for them to make a decision? Certainly Yahya Sinwar, who is really the leader of Hamas in Gaza, and he's somewhere in a tunnel. He's responsible for making the decision to release hostages, much more than the political leadership of Hamas that may be in Doha and Qatar. Having said all that, the fact that the Israelis look like they're actually preparing the ground to do something in Rafah, maybe that is increasing the pressure on him. The key has always been, at what point would he decide that he's interested in a reprieve? Because the noose is tightening so much around him that he makes a decision to go ahead and do that. It's possible that the circumstances right now are such that he's feeling more pressure. If that's true, the odds of a deal go up. But we've seen before lots of hints of optimism, and then those hints of optimism don't get translated into reality.
So especially, as you say, hopeful but not optimistic. Our Andrea Mitchell has just mentioned that U.S. officials feel they're working against the clock really to get this deal done. And even as they doubt that Israelis are ready for such an invasion, given that reporting, could this be the last chance to bring hostages home, especially when you think about the fact that Andrea just said this feels like it's now or never?
I'm not certain that's the case. The reason, again, I'm not certain it's the case is we don't know for sure where Sinwar is. Maybe he's in the Rafah area. Maybe the Israelis will go into the tunnels there. But we do know that basically he's holding the hostages. He sees them as a card. Even after the Israelis have gone into Rafah, assuming it gets to that, he will still likely be holding hostages. They will still be a card. He will still try to trade them away for something. So I'm not sure it's now or never, but it's clearly a moment where there seems to be a lot of interest on the part of the Egyptians. The Egyptians do have the ability to create different kinds of pressures on Hamas. Sinwar may decide that the combination of Egyptian pressure and the prospect of an Israeli move into Rafah gives him a reason to seek the reprieve. But that's why I say that could be an element in his calculus. I'm not sure that the idea, as long as he has a card to play, that necessarily it means he'll never play them.
I also want to ask you about the domestic pressure that Benjamin Netanyahu is facing. We spend a lot of time talking about the domestic pressure that President Biden is facing. But in this case, Benjamin Netanyahu, there are a lot of people that are angry at him. What do you think the pressure could be on him if he doesn't take the opportunity to bring these hostages home in this moment?
I think you put your finger on something that is increasingly significant. Hamas is not, when they release these videos, it does increase pressures within Israel. You're talking, what are we, 204 days into this? The hostage families, whose life was frozen, has been frozen since last October 7th. What they're feeling, what many in Israel are feeling, many in Israel feel, look, if you don't get the hostages back, whatever you claim about your successes, they're going to ring very hollow. So I do think the pressure within Israel is building. I do think the readiness of the Israelis to become even more flexible in terms of some of the terms that they might offer. When you have the Secretary of State saying what the Israeli offer is a generous offer, that's clearly something that suggests there's been a move on the Israeli side. There's been criticism from within the Israeli hostage team that's negotiating, the negotiators, that the mandate they had wasn't broad enough. Now that was a couple of weeks ago, then even a week ago. So I think we're seeing a change, and I think the change is a function of the pressures that Netanyahu is feeling.
I also want to ask you, I mean, as you talk about the pressures that Netanyahu's feeling, there's the issue of Rafah. If Israel does actually go into Rafah, which is, we should note, the most southern point now, is there a scenario where that could possibly bring this war closer to a conclusion? And what happens next if you're at the southernmost point? Where does Israel go from here?
No, I think, again, this is a really significant point to be focused on. A lot depends upon how the Israelis ultimately define what their objective is. I have been making the argument throughout their objective should be the demilitarization of Gaza. They're not going to eliminate Hamas any more than we could eliminate ISIS. But the demilitarization of Gaza, if then tied to commitments from the U.S. and from others in the region to ensure there can never be a remilitarization of Gaza, then you've achieved an objective that Hamas in Gaza can never again threaten you. Well, that's a significant achievement. Now, the reason I raise it in the context of your question is that Rafah is where the last 4 battalions of Hamas exist. If they do Rafah, and by the way, I still think this is 4 to 6 weeks away, because that's how long it's going to take to evacuate the 1.3 million Palestinians who are there, evacuate them to places where they can be absorbed in terms of shelter, food, medicine, water. So it's still going to take time to get there, number one. But let's say that in the end, we don't get a hostage deal. And then let's say in 6 weeks, the Israelis go in and they basically defeat or dismantle the last 4 battalions. Yeah. Well, Israel's then in a position to say, okay, we achieved what we needed to achieve. Yeah. And that could lead to an end of this.
Well, thank you so much, Ambassador Dennis Ross.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.